G'day, folks. How we going?
Sorry, we're sitting there like stunned mullets. Hello. Hello there, you're Sean.
And you're Ilana.
And we are the Down Under Cruisers. Welcome, welcome. Sorry, we had a little bit of a glitch there. We were wondering what was going on.
Yeah. It's back to glitch time again.
Oh,
I think
dear.
I've got to actually have a discussion with this upgrade that I just did because it's
great.
like,
It's not really happening, is it?
Well, it's got more memory than it ever had before.
Wow,
but,
it's forgotten to get us going.
And then there's my forgettery. So
You forgettery. Yeah, and your memory.
Right.
Well, hello, everybody.
G'day, everybody. Welcome aboard. Nice to have you here. First up in the chat, just to give you a heads up, we had, oh my goodness me, we've got like 3.5 million people. But first up in the chat, we had Meg.
Meg, hi
Welcome
Meg,
aboard,
#1.
followed very closely by Jessica Lane Fitzwaters.
2, yes.
G'day, Aussie governors, she says.
Oh,
well, g'day to you.
G'day.
Welcome aboard. We've got Ilana O'Duck. Who's that?
Quack, quack.
I don't know. Anyway, it says, g'day, early birds. Let me see. We had Helping Hands for Cruising. We've got Michael Ann in there. G'day, Michael Ann. Nice to have you
Rob.
there. Rob from Cruising on the High Seas. G'day,
How
buddy.
you?
There's Najuma Brown.
Hello,
How are you? Captain Billy J.
Ahoy
Travels.
there.
Ahoy there, everybody. Ahoy there, Cruise Director Ilana and Seaman Sean. The captain is here.
Behave ourselves.
Now, Billy, you've just been, let me just put this up for a second. You have just been relegated back to captain status.
Why is that?
You have lost your Commodore status because of that comment. Cruise director and seaman. Seriously. Anyway, we've got
Deb Wright
in the
house.
G'day, Deb. How are you? Nice to see you. Well, we'll have to do something different about that one. We've got Josh from the Moonlight Adventures. Hopefully Chastity's with you. We've got, let me see,
Larry. G'day, Larry.
G'day, Larry.
Nice
How
to
are
see
you, buddy?
you.
Nice to have you there. We've got SCT. Welcome aboard. Nice to have you. Great show earlier on. Really great show.
I was struggling with those because that was sort of more rocky.
Yes, but I just want to say, Greg, you giving Kurt assistance, considering the amount of troubles you had before, I know exactly what your problem is. But I guess we need Felicia there to explain it. Rob, question: how do you get the dog on board and where can they go to relieve himself?
That is a great question.
That's a very great question.
We will be directing that question
to
the person who can best answer that.
Correct.
Probably the dog herself. But
no, don't call.
No,
Glenna that.
That's Glenna.
We got V in there. G'day, V. How you doing?
Hello, beautiful person.
We've got Crystal. How are you?
Crystal.
Hope the game's going well and they're winning or they've won because it's like 10 p.m. your time, whatever. I'm just going through the chat really quickly. We've got Puppy the cat. Hey, Puppy, how are you? Nice to have you on board. We've got...
it's Felicia's there.
Yeah. Oh, Felicia's there.
Separately.
Great. Who has glitches on their streams? Well,
yeah, I know.
Okay.
No comment about particular computers.
Yep. Okay. And they're not talking about computers. They're talking about glitches.
Oh, I'm going to bite my tongue on that one.
Yes. Crystal, hey, all in the chat. I'm on my tablet, so I contact people. We're way up north. What, Canada?
We're way down south.
Yeah, we're way down south.
Upside down.
Let me see. Can we just cancel him out for a while? Seaman Sean must have gotten technical tips from Greg. Well, I didn't want to say that. I did not want to say that. Okay, g'day, Paul. How are you? Nice to have you on board.
Paul. Hope you had a lovely birthday.
Yep. How did it feel turning 21? Let me see. Who else? I'm just being very quick here, folks. I just want to say g'day to people.
Could possibly. Oh, Laurie.
G'day, Laurie. How you going? Nice to have you on board. It's been a while. Nice to be back in the chair.
I think we could bring our guest on now.
Yeah, I think so too. We're going to do that in a second. Let me just do this because
hopefully all is going to work well.
Yeah, I just want to see whether that's actually playing cricket or not. Anyway, okay. Josh is saying that they're in separate locales right now. She's at home and he's in New Jersey on work until next Friday. Isn't it great? Work makes you travel. Just clicking very quickly through. Okay, we're up to scratch. Okay, let's bring in our guest. Now, this person was on board our cruise ship with us. She turned a few heads for a number of reasons. The exciting thing is we're going to learn heaps from her. And I think you folks will all be happy to meet. Let's bring her up. It's Deb.
Deb.
How are you, Deb?
G'day, Deb.
Hang on.
Hello.
I've got to do this properly.
Oh, what? Oh, there we go. Yay.
Okay, shut up.
Okay, we met Deb only just recently, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
She was on the cruise with us. She and her dynamic golden girl, Mama Lois. What a dynamic duo Deb and Lois are, eh?
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Well, trio. We've got
trio.
to bring
and Glenna, absolutely.
Yeah.
3 golden girls together.
Absolutely. Just very quickly, Deb, I don't know if you can see in the chat, but you've got people like Josh from Moonlight Adventures and Michael Ann all saying g'day to you, as well as V and Meg. They're all saying g'day to you. Now, a couple are saying to Ilana that they like your hair.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I've had a bit of a trim. Thank you.
You wanted to fire away with some questions.
Well, I did. I just wanted to say, first of all, how delightful it was to meet you and your family. But we brought Debbie in to have a chat in light of being able to travel with special abilities, different abilities. And Deb, do you want to share with us exactly what your, I don't know quite what, do you consider it a disability what you have?
Only when I can't do something.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm stubborn enough that I work around it and try to figure out how to do it in a different manner than what I'm used to doing it.
Yep. So the it, for those who don't know, Deb, what is the it that you are referring to?
I'm legally blind.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so do you have some sight at all?
I have a little bit of sight in my left eye. My right eye, I only have light perception. So 9 out of 10 times I have a hat on to shield my eyes from the light because it really affects them and it will send shards of pain into my head if a bright light hits my eyes. I have no peripheral, no depth perception. When I was growing up, and I'd get klutzy, I always used to say I'm blind in one eye and can't see out the other, and never dreaming the day that I would be. So now, but I can only see straight ahead, and I just want to say that yes, I was on the group cruise, and if I walked by someone from the group that I didn't stop to talk, it's because I didn't see you. You needed to speak to me first so that I knew that you were there, because otherwise I would not see you because I'm concentrating. I'm trying to get someplace.
Now, can I just ask, how's your voice memory? So if someone was to speak to you but you couldn't see them, but you've spoken to them before, would you be able to recognize their voice?
Most times, yes.
and identify who they are?
Yes, most times. And the same with even like people asked me, how could I navigate around the ship so well if I can't see? I have a special computer here. And so I'm able to bring up the deck plans and I memorize the deck plans. So I know where I have to go to get where I need. So the first day, that's basically what I do is I go to the places I need to go, to the main dining room, the MDR, the lounge, the piano bar, the Lido, elevator, all of this. So that once I've gone there, then I'm targeting it with Glenna. That's what it's called when she's trained to find that spot again. Mm-hmm. So, but she's past the spot that we don't have to really work at it. So at this point, I could tell her after sitting in the dining room one night, I could tell her, Glenna, take me to the MDR, take me to my chair. And she would take me right to where I was seated the night before. Wow. Or if I wanted to go to the Lido deck, or if I wanted to go shopping, I want to go to the bling store.
Just follow Dewey. Take Dewey.
Or if I wanted to go to the fun store, she knew the difference between the two.
If I can just interrupt for a second there, Deb, Laurie's just heading out. So, Laurie, thank you for popping in. We appreciate it. Mm-hmm. I just want to say to the chat, if anybody has got any questions of Deb, please fire them into the chat and we will ask those questions as easily as possible. I was going to ask you, there was a question asked earlier on by Rob from Cruising on the High Seas. His question was, how does the dog make it onto the ship, and where do they go to relieve themselves and so forth?
Usually, to get onto the ship, I've done months of paperwork prior, and I have them all documented and photocopied and emailed into Carnival and to all of the islands. And it's usually, I keep saying usually, an easy process. However, the Carnival or the Horizon didn't seem to know what they were, excuse me, that they were doing.
We know.
Yeah, you were with us. And I'm going, yeah, they look at the paperwork, they look at the dog, we're on. Not this time, they sent us to all these different stations, which was highly unusual, really unusual, because I've already done all the paperwork. They just have to check to make sure that it's the dog, the same dog, and that sort of stuff. And they have to check my credentials because, of course, they don't have any of my credentials. But if you remember, Sean, they never asked for any of my credentials.
No, they didn't.
They were more about the dog.
Yep.
Go figure. Yep. And as far as relief stations, on the Horizon, I only had one on my balcony. Usually on the ships, they have one in a bigger one, someplace out of the public's eye, and then a smaller one on the balcony. And it's filled with paper pellets. It's a little bit different for the dogs to use these. When Glenna first used them, I had to get into the relief, the relief box first to show her that she could stand on them. And then there was no problem. Showing her once where the relief station was, she knew every time. For example, when we were on the Mardi Gras, we were outside of the casino. Most people don't realize there's 5 secret doors going out of that casino on the port side. She knew where every one of those doors were. I didn't, but she knew where the doors were to be able to go to her relief station. They use the paper pellets because they can burn them. So they're not polluting anything.
Yep.
And of course,
sorry, Deb, go on.
The solids I pick up.
Just very quickly in the chat there, we've got Kelly and Tammy's Journey coming in there. So g'day, welcome aboard. We're talking with Deb Wright, who has some sight problems and has a guide dog on board. And we're talking about cruising with guide dogs.
And just to prove, Deb, how possible it is, how many cruises have you been on?
Five? Since I've lost my sight? Since COVID?
Mm-hmm. But all together?
No. I started out a year ago, September. And then we did January. We did a back-to-back in March. We did October. We're doing a back-to-back in January, February. And then we're doing another one in September of 23.
Nice. But Deb, you don't just cruise, because in order to get to the cruise, you need to fly as well. And you've got, I noticed, it's not just your own luggage that you have to think about. You've got Glenna's gear as well, which includes her crate. So how is flying with her to get to the ship? What's that like?
Well, Mum and I decided we would not fly to another cruise port. It was too confusing, too taxing. Mum's 89 years old. So it really...
we were there at the celebration.
Yeah, it really played a toll on her system. So when we go cruising now, for the majority of the time, it'll be out of Port Canaveral. And my brother drives us there. But I still take the crate with me because that's Glenna's comfort area. It's not, she's not shut in it. It's always left open. Even as you've seen on the cabin crawl, it was left open. She could come and go. I could tell her to kennel up. She'll go into there and lay down and won't come out until she's told that she can. So, but it's her blankets that's in there, her toys that are in there, and that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay.
Very quickly, good day to Lorraine and to Jonesy from Tasmania. Welcome aboard, buddy. Question was asked by V. How did you enjoy the food choices on the cruise?
I did. I have to say that I did. The thing is if you don't like someplace, go someplace else. It's as simple as that. If you don't like what they're serving in the MDR, go to the Lido or go get, there's so many food choices that you're not stuck in one place with one thing. Mm-hmm. There's Lido, so the buffet, there's the deli, there's the Pig and Anchor, there's the MDR, there's Guy's Burgers, and then there's all the specialty restaurants if you want that. So there's so many choices. I didn't get stuck. I am a picky eater, and I didn't get stuck for something to eat.
What about Glenna? How does she? Do you have to bring food on board for her, or does she actually get food from the cruise line?
I carry her food in a backpack. Mm-hmm. I carried her food in a backpack because we flew, and we had a transfer of flight, and I figured if they were going to lose my luggage, they could lose my luggage. I could live without clothes. My dog couldn't live without food, so it was on my back. I wanted to protect what she needed.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's your eyes, and she protects you, so right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
There was a question there by Meg. She asks, do you find more people on cruise ships try to distract Glenna than in everyday life?
I'm going to say no. It's just more concentrated.
Yep.
Glenna had new equipment on this time, and the old equipment that I had, older equipment I had, it said, no eye can't contact, do not pet me, I'm working, all this, the stop signs, everything. And people would stop and pet her as they're reading the signs and said, oh, I'm not supposed to touch her. No, you're not supposed to touch her. You know, this sort of thing. She got spoiled on the cruise. And because I allow the crew to visit with her, they're missing their pet, and they do such a wonderful job for us. I allow them that privilege.
And did you find that once people were told, hey, she's a working dog, don't touch, that they respected that?
Yes. In all the cruises that I've done, I've only had one gentleman that got verbally abusive.
Oh.
And had I been able to identify him and to security, he would have been removed at the next port. And he would have had to find his own way home. They do not, if you have any type of a handicap, Carnival does not put up with any crap for you. They protect the person. And I would definitely encourage anybody with any kind of a handicap, you can work around it. If you want it bad enough, you can work around it. And if you look around or ask around, there's always people willing to lend a helping hand.
Great. That's a great message to people out there.
So you're getting comments there, Deb, saying that is wonderful and such sweet sentiment.
Yeah, particularly about letting the crew pet Glenna.
There was a question asked by Rob from Cruising on the High Seas, and he says, if he remembers correctly, you're out of Niagara. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm 30 minutes southwest of Niagara Falls, Ontario.
So, folks, we're talking to a Canadian here, not an American. Okay,
correct.
Colonial to colonial, you know. Folks, treat us with the respect that is deserved.
Deb, Troy.
That's because we give to them.
That's correct.
Troy's asking how you are. How is sweet Glenna? And he's ready to hang out with Glenna again. He's off to see Danny and his crew. That's Troy.
Oh,
Troy.
He was amazing. And Glenna loved him. She just took to him like 90. And again, with him being on, I want to thank him and Sean and you too, Alana, that helping us when we got to the hotel and getting our luggage up to the room and then getting us back down and onto the bus. And there's a prime example, Sean, of how stubborn I am. I took his suitcases down and put my mom in the lobby. I was willing to run up and down the elevator, bring those luggage up and down one at a time because I can do that.
Yes, we know. And we also know that you only have two hands, which is why we were running around looking after you.
Yeah, and I appreciate
it. We've just had Larry pop out. He's going somewhere. He's saying he's in the car and he's listening. So thank you, Larry, for staying there.
And Deb Michael-Ann is saying she's got a wonderful video of you dancing. So we know you're a bit of a party girl. You had a...
Oh, don't hang your head in shame. It was the best view out there.
No.
It'll be appearing somewhere, I'm sure.
It did.
Okay, already.
I seen it. I wasn't impressed with me.
Oh.
V was just put a comment there. She said, you learned what Helping Hands for Cruising is all about.
Yes, because prior to that, being on the webpage and listening to the chats and all of this stuff and the videos, and you kept talking about helping hands. As a newbie, I had no idea what you were talking about. And to me, I would explain it a little bit, like put a tagline with it when you're talking about it so that new people know what it is. Like, I used to get helping hand awards all the time from my church because it was an organization they had, but it wasn't for cruising. For cruising, it was just helping people, and that's what I basically thought it was. I didn't think it was something so dynamic as what you guys are doing. And so once I learned about it, it's like, oh, it really opened my eyes.
No pun intended, right?
Yeah. It gave me a new perspective of what it was.
But see, people like you and people like Lorraine, who's also in the chat, are perfect examples of you not being able with your sight and having Glenna, Lorraine in her wheelchair, being able to go out, enjoy travel, and be independent enough to be able to do that, and know that when you need help, you can ask for help.
That's where I have a stick in the mud.
And what yes?
I have to fall almost flat on my face before I'll ask for help because I'm Scotch and Irish and I'm stubborn. I'm going to do it, damn it.
But I'm saying when and if you need it. I mean, yes, but people, I think Lorraine had a bit of and I hope she'd forgive me for saying this, Lorraine. I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, that Lorraine has experienced some frustration where people rush to help and try and push the wheelchair up. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. Let me do it. I can do it.
Yeah, I know this situation that you're talking about, and that was terrible.
She brought a point up, and that was something that you experienced as well. She goes, the ports of call can be hard to deal with. They have many rules for the service dogs or service animals. Can you explain? Like, I know we went to 4 ports, and only 3 of them you were allowed to get off at. Did you get out there and do things? What was it like? How did you handle things?
Okay, in Aruba, I completed all the paperwork they sent me, answered all the emails, everything. They just did not process the paperwork. So the oneness was on their side, not mine. Mm-hmm. In Bonaire, we went and we walked around the little town there. We went through the artesian exhibit, and then we walked down. The thing is that Mom was having problems because a lot of it wasn't accessible for a scooter. But then it's under construction that they're redoing it so that it's all accessible for people. Rama, we were warned before we even went there, don't leave the cruise port.
Yeah.
And Dominican or Amber Cove, we love that. And we spent so much time in there that it got too hot and we had to head back to the ship. We only seen half of it, but then we're going back again. So we'll see the other half at that point. Mm-hmm. But those points, those ports were great. In the past, I've gone to Belize and Belize charged me $32 to get off the ship to file the paperwork. And they collected cash on the ship. And Roatan charged $23 to get off the ship.
Aruba was filling out paperwork, but was there any other charges with Aruba that you would have been up for?
I don't know. I really don't know, because usually they collect it at the port. Mm-hmm. They have you pay guest services, and then guest services gives the port official the cash. Mm-hmm. Now, I do know that one of the ports that we're going to, I think it's St. Thomas, is going to cost me $15, but then I have to send a money order in.
Yep.
For the paperwork to be filed. Now, see, I'm not going there until the end of January, February, but I'm already doing the paperwork now. That's how much in advance that I need to do them. I can't, that's one of the disadvantages. I can't go on a last minute cruise. Mm-hmm. I have, unless I know if it's Cozumel, Costa Maya, Puerto Rico, those places are fine. Any place in Mexico or San Juan, Puerto Rico, which is an American territory, I'm fine, because they don't require the same paperwork. They do not require an import license. Mm-hmm. But the islands don't have a standard import license they each have their own, and they each have their seal on it.
Mm. Couple of things in the chat there very quickly. Rob from Cruising on the High Seas wishes he was able to make the cruise so that he could have met all the great people.
And we say hello to Jeffrey Jamestown Baseball Commissioner says hi, and Eric B, hello, says hi to us and to you, Deb.
Now, question that Rob from Cruising on the High Seas asks, and this is a good one. What's the difference between the service guide dog versus the stick? Do you also use a stick?
Do you have a cane that you use as well?
Yes, I do. I have a 6-foot walking cane. Mm-hmm. I have a 3-foot indicator cane. I have them all. And you have to be proficient with those canes before you can get a guide dog. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The reason I went to a guide dog at first was because I live in an old community with great big trees, and to be able to walk, the tree roots throw the sidewalks, and I was forever throwing my shoulder out because I was hitting the lifted sidewalks with the cane. Plus my family, even though I've lived here all my life, my family was not comfortable allowing me to wander around the city. Mm-hmm. But once I got the guide dog, they were more relaxed. Plus the dog gave me more confidence to be able to do things. Glenna is my second guide dog. I had a big yellow boy, my boo boy, Bo, prior to her, but he got pulled from service at 18 months for medical reasons. Now him, I know that, and we found this out early, so my husband was really, really comfortable, that he was very protective of me. Mm-hmm. We were traveling and we stopped at a hotel, and there was a lot of migrant workers. I don't know what they were doing, but I took Bo out to relieve himself. And all of a sudden the hackles went up in him and he started growling and snarling, and then just a full face growl and lunging. Ken went to grab him and I said, no. If I can't control him, I can't keep him.
Yes.
And so I talked him down, and he calmed down because we turned around and walked away. But then all these migrant workers were talking and saying, don't go near that room or that truck. They got a vicious dog. And Bo was a pussycat. He would roll over and give you his belly. He would, but he felt somebody was threatening me.
Yes.
And I have a sneaking suspicion that my baby girl here she huffs. When she sees something that she's not sure of, she doesn't growl, but she hawks at them. Yeah. So I'm not sure what her response would be, but it gives my family peace of mind that I do have protection, and the dog's trained that if I get misplaced in my mind's eye, all I have to do is tell her to take me home, and she'll bring me home.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, no matter where we are in the city, she will bring me home.
Gosh, they're amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, just might not be the same route we got there, but she'll twist and turn and find her way.
Yeah. Now, you said that she got spoiled on the cruise ship. Did you find that with all the people in close proximity, she had to do a bit more training when you got home?
I don't know if it's from the cruise ship or from the senior apartment building my mother lives in. Because the greater majority is senior women.
Yes.
And unfortunately, they don't remember that they're not supposed to touch her.
Yes.
And how do you tell somebody that can't remember they can't do that? So I have to have patience, and that's what. If she's working, if she's actually doing something, then I will interfere. Yes. But if I'm just standing talking to somebody and they come up and start petting her, how do you tell them the dog's working? They don't realize it.
No.
It's the same with small children. But with children, I will stop, and I will, if I hear somebody saying, I would pet the doggy, I want to pet the doggy, I will stop and explain to them what the dog does for me, what the equipment is. I will take the equipment off and then let them touch the dog. And then they can see the difference of the dog in the equipment, and because it's an instant change. As soon as I take that equipment off, she's a dog. When I put the equipment on, she's working. No ifs, ands, buts about.
We've got JNN, John and Nancy, particularly John, and I just want to say 1439, John. He's in the chat there, and he's really asking the question for us to ask you to say that the dog liked John the best. Is that not true?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Just humour him.
We know the truth.
Sean won't get insulted.
No, there was Troy. Nobody beat Troy. Sorry. And then it would be a toss-up between John and you, Sean, who she liked the best.
Hey, if John wants the title, he can have it.
There you go.
Anybody who needs a frog
I think it's because we interacted with John and Nancy a lot.
Yep. Well,
we seem lined up with them quite a bit.
Well, I would just say anybody who needs a frog to be the mascot of their show, well, they can certainly have the title of being liked by the dog the best.
Okay.
Actually, and speaking of titles, we should actually officially crown Glenna as the four-legged winner of the burger eating competition.
Oh, yes.
Shouldn't we? Larry was the two-legged winner, but Glenna was certainly the four-legged winner.
I can quite honestly say that Larry felt really put out when Glenna sucked like 30 seconds off his title.
Hoovered up hoovered the burger up.
She was afraid that I did. See, that was a rare treat for her to get a burger like that. So she was going to scoff it down as fast as she could, so I couldn't take it away from her.
So I could have a burger,
mind, right?
And see, there's where I broke the rules. She got people food and she was fed in an eating place. And
Yep.
neither one, otherwise she wouldn't have had either one of those. But just in the fun and being able to participate, I allowed her to do it.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad you did allow her to do it. It just like finished off the whole segment beautifully. V asks the question, did Glenna love to wear her Halloween costume because you guys were a hit?
She didn't mind. It's not the first time that she's wore a costume. We actually, I know, I'm woohoo. We actually have an 80s costume that we wear too, where I wear the headband and it's leopard. I have a leopard top, the slinky pants with the leg warmers that are leopard. Mm-hmm. She has the leopard kerchief and she has the leopard leg warmers also.
Wow, gorgeous.
Very quickly, Jeffrey, Jamestown baseball commissioner is headed out for the evening. So thank you for popping in, Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Rob has a question. What was the hardest or easiest part of the cruise?
The hardest part was getting on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The easiest part. Well, the rest of it, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was. I found it a bit difficult at lining up with everybody because I didn't know everybody's voices or anything like that. So to find somebody visually, I could not do that. So I could have walked past people, like I said before, 2-3 times, and I wouldn't have known they were there.
So on that note, Deb, that leads me to think of a question about what is it that cruise ships could do better to help someone like you? Is there something lacking?
I'm really, that's a really good question. I'm trying to think of something because, I mean, let me stand still for more than 30 seconds and I have crew members coming up going, can I help you? Can I help you? So they're watching out for me the whole time.
Are you sure it's you they're watching out for and not Mum?
No, she wouldn't be with me if I was standing waiting for her for something. Yeah, and they're good with her too, mind you. That's almost a trick question, Alana. I don't know what they could do better.
Okay, what is it that they don't do well enough then? If there is anything.
The only thing that I've ever had that I didn't like is the one time we had tried the anytime dining. And when we come in, they seen we had a dog, and of course they stuck us in a corner, and I did not like that. It was like, well, put them over there because they got a dog. Whereas now I know enough when I go in, I tell them I want a window. I want a window in the aft where she's got room to lay down.
Yep. Okay.
So I mean, our next cruise is on the Mardi Gras, and I will be going to see the maitre d' and saying, I want table 204 in the aft. Because I like that, because there was a great big spot where she could lay right out throughout the whole meal. Now the servers can walk over, and I tell them, you can walk over her, she won't move. And they could step over her. She didn't move because I don't like having to stick her under the table. On the same ship, I put her under the table. She got motion sickness.
Having said that, Deb, when we had breakfast together on the last day, I know I was loved because Glenna's head was on my foot.
Oh yeah, she's got it. Yeah, she's a touchy-feely dog. Hey, I'm here.
Yep. Meg asked the question, what was your favorite thing to do on a ship? What is your favorite thing to do on a ship?
What's my favorite? To watch the water. I know it's dumb.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, you can see it, so that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, and I see, you know what? I see all kinds of fish and animals out there. I just enjoy it so much. You won't see them, but I see them.
And I think in many ways we are spoiled by having a 20/20 vision, because the fact is we are not you are geared to focusing on certain things, and you're looking for things to focus on, whereas the rest of us take it for granted. And I think you are the much more fortunate for that.
Well, I know
say it that
there was a bunch of us sitting in the one cruise we were on. There was a bunch of us sitting in the Red Pub.
The Red
Frog.
Yeah, Red Frog outside. And I'm going, oh, look at that in the water. Look at that in the water. And I went like this. Never mind, it's gone. And then I'd sit back, and a little while later, I'd look over there. It's there again. It's there again. Look. And everybody's looking. And I'd lean for it 4 times until I realized it was a reflection in the window. There was nothing in the water.
Hey, but it's still great. You got a view that nobody else did.
Yeah. And years ago, even when I was fully sighted, my mother's going to be chuckling at this one. We went to Cozumel. We actually were in Cancun, and we were going to Cozumel. We took the ferry across to Playa del Carmen, and I just am fascinated with water and wanted to see something come up. 45 minutes, the video cameras on the back of the ship on the water. That's all it was. 45 minutes to watch the wake of the boat.
That's funny.
But,
hey, V says you were the best dressed on the cruise and you didn't even need budgie smugglers.
How does she know I wasn't wearing any?
Well, any secrets you want to spill?
Deb, don't tell them that you had a chance to look at. Darian is in on board. He's saying g'day to everybody.
Hello, Herr Darian. I'm doing short now.
Herr Darian, how are you today?
Yes, V's saying their hub.
V's saying the hub needed a bit of a
it's a reboot, I think. Yes.
Yep.
Wasn't very reliable, was it?
No.
No.
Okay. Meg's saying, I bet Glenna loves to watch the fish too.
No.
I think when you've got her lying down, she's just looking at the inside of her eyelids, right?
Yes. She's like going, okay, I don't have to do anything. I can just lay here. But you know what? All I have to do is make a clicking sound, and she's up like seconds flat. Going back to the budgie smugglers, I can tell you now, had I known what V had up her sleeve at presenting you with those budgie smugglers, I said, I wish I had known. My husband carves budgies.
Oh, wow.
One.
Oh, wow, that's gorgeous.
That would have been a true budgie smuggler.
Absolutely.
And they look real.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, that's incredible.
Amazing.
They're even realistic size, too.
Wow. That's a big budgie.
So, okay, we're talking about you and being visually impaired. Do you think that other disabilities are faced with the same sort of issues that you are?
Yes, in a different way. I think that this might sound crass, but I think 50% of a person's disability is from the neck up.
I was about to
I
say.
agree with that.
Yep.
If you get I learned a long time ago, if you get the attitude, oh, poor me, oh, poor me. I'm not saying I don't go through those spells, but if you get the attitude, oh, poor me, then it's going to be, oh, poor me, and you're going to do nothing and get nowhere. However, if you put your mind to something and you want it bad enough, and you do a little bit of research and look around you, there's always someone there willing to help you, to help you achieve your goals. Yep. Can you do the same things that you used to do? No. I mean, I would love to be able to jump in a vehicle and drive again. I'll never be able to do that again. I went from driving one day to never driving again in my life. The next day.
I'm sorry, Deb. I've got this vision of you sitting behind the steering wheel with Glenna telling you where to go. Yeah.
Never mind, Sean. You just never mind. For example, again, me and my computer, I Googled the way how to get to this doctor's office for my husband. And I told him, you have to go down this road, make a left. It's going to be on the right. It's right beside the Queenie. No, it's not. No, you got to do this. You got to do that. It's by the old hospital. Okay, you're driving. So he goes over by 10 minutes later, he ended up where I said. I said, your problem is you don't want to take directions from a blind person.
Correct. Very quickly, we've got Warm Strong Adventures in the chat. Welcome aboard. Nice to have you here.
Nice to have you here. Yes.
We're talking with Deb Wright, who is sight impaired and has a lovely, beautiful dog by the name of Glenna, who takes care of her. And so we're talking about how she handles cruising and so forth. Rob is saying, when's your next group cruise booked, or do you have one booked yet?
I think that's directed to you.
Well, I could answer the question, but I was just wondering whether or not you had one. You were going on any other group cruises?
In any cruise, or just a cruise?
I am going on another group cruise next September 17th, and it's on the Celebration out of Port Canaveral. Out of Miami.
That's the inaugural, isn't it?
It's the inaugural year. She launched her first cruise. The Pre-Atlantic is this week. She's coming across this week.
We just say goodnight to Josh from Moonlight Adventures. He's hitting the
Josh.
Hey. Thanks for popping in. In actual fact, the question was asked by Rob for you, not us. He knows when we're doing our stuff, so that's cool.
And can I just say, he has mentioned thumbs up. Can we just, with people watching, giving a thumbs up helps our channel, please?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Much appreciated.
So, go ahead.
The group cruise we were supposed to go on for January 28th got postponed for family medical reasons. So it got rebooked in September on the Celebration.
Lovely.
With that being said, Mom and I are still going on the Mardi Gras on January 28th for a back-to-back.
Oh, that's nice.
Deb, what's been your favorite cruise port so far?
Port Canaveral.
Because it's close?
Because
it's close, it's clean, it's easy accessible. It's just, it's like zips up, you're there. It's so, with me, with my site, it's not cluttered. It's not zigzagging to get there. It's direct and in. Even when you're unloading, you unload, and then your scooters are here, and you're going right up in the ship. It's just like, I have to admit, it's been the Mardi Gras that we sail out of there, and it's a brand new terminal, and it's right at the end of the jetty. So we've had to pass everything else, but it's so clean and direct getting there as compared to any of the other ones, or even going on the horizon, the congestion of traffic and having to cut across and do this and do that, and the creeping up, and it was very confusing, and
it was very hectic, wasn't it?
yeah.
Just to go in the chat very quickly, Larry, good night. Thank you
Larry.
for
Thanks
keeping
for
us with you in the drive, and glad you got home safely. I was going to say, Deb, you mentioned earlier on about the disability being from the neck up, and one of the greatest teachers of that one was, I think, Kenny, who was the first recipient of Helping Hands, because that kid did absolutely everything he could possibly do.
Oh yeah, I am, and you know what the thing is that I envied him at everything that he was able to do. There's one of the restrictions that I face. There's a lot of excursions that I can't go on because I've got a dog. There's I have limitations because I have a guide dog with me, and of course you can't, nor would I, leave her on the ship. So plus with Mom and I, we're not comfortable maybe if we were in a group with other people, but just the two of us together, two senior women, no, we would not be comfortable leaving the cruise port.
And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we didn't even feel comfortable wanting to step through the gate at La Romana anyway. Just in the chat very quickly.
Just hi, Ron, by the way.
Yeah, g'day, Ron. That's what I wanted to say. Nice to see you on board. Lorraine is saying that she didn't like Port Miami either. Port Canaveral is beautiful. And Radio Jonesy, who's in Tasmania, is loving the chat, so that's great. And Ron Apple, what can I say? Rob from Cruising on the High Seas is going, I think I can, which is basically your mentality, really, and Kenny's mentality.
You know, I want to say that, yes, my disability is sight. However, if anybody wanted to chat or find out any information, or just to have some positive outlook on what you can and you can't do, I would totally invite them to reach out to me. I would love to chat with them. I have no problem doing that.
Well, that's very generous, Deb. Thank you. That's, I think, yeah,
absolutely
a great thing.
And last question before I get us to head out, because we've been waffling on for about an hour. Can you believe it? The last thing I want to ask is, do you find that because you have a disability, and I'm going to use that in inverted commas, because you have a disability, people treat you very differently?
Yes. They don't think I can do things. They they sit me in a corner. They dismiss me. They don't take in account of my past history, my managerial skills. Like I've worked in quite a few different fields. I always said I don't do roofing, plumbing, or dishes. I was going to say, but I do the dishes. But I mean, I've done construction. I don't think there's anything that I've not worked at to have. I'm one of those jacks of all trades, master of none sort of thing. But they still dismiss me because they figure I can't see, I can't do it.
Yes.
But they don't realize that I probably could run circles around most of them.
Correct.
I know we have a garden show, a backyard garden show every year. Well, this was the first year. And they asked me to enter it. And people came into my backyard and said, "Oh, so who did all this work?" I did. But you're blind. Yeah.
And that's a problem because...
How can you do this? I said, I can get down on my hands and knees and see what I'm doing because it's close to my face. I can't believe you could do all this.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
What I couldn't do, I asked for help. And the stuff that I could do was just because of age. It wasn't because of my blindness.
Yes.
But but no, and so that's one of the hardest things at being dismissed because you have a handicap, or being dismissed,
becoming visible in some ways.
Yeah, or when I first got the dog, prime example, my daughter said, well, she wanted to take me someplace, but I don't want the dog in my car. And I said, okay, not a problem. And she said, so I'll pick you up at such and such time. I said, no. And she said, what do you mean, no? I said, if Glenna can't go, I can't go. What do you mean? I said, if I was in a wheelchair, would you ask me to leave my wheelchair at home? No. Yes. And I said, you're asking me to leave my eyes at home. And too many times, even my girls, my husband, whatever, we'll be out shopping. We'll be in the middle of something. They forget that I can't see and wander off. And there I stand. If I didn't have the dog, I'm pooched.
Correct.
At least with the dog, I have company, and she can get me back to where I need to go.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And Lorraine is saying it's a cruel curse to be treated that way. It's very hard. And people who have some sort of disability one way or another do face that in one format or another.
Well, and you know, the thing is that if you ever watch people, even in a grocery store, if you're in a wheelchair, they will divert their eyes. You're on crutches, they'll ask you if they can help you. Now, it could be the same, you know, you got an injury on your leg, but if you're in a wheelchair, they're not going to help you. And that's what, and a lot of people figure that because I'm blind, I do have a little bit of sight, that I can't see them. So they don't have to say hi to me. They'll come up and talk to Ken.
Oh, you're suddenly invisible.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it was a hard pill to take. Now I just go, didn't want to talk to them anyways.
Rob's hassling me for this question. How many cruise lines have you been on and what ships?
I'm a loyal Carnival fan. Since COVID, I've been on the Mardi Gras, the Glory twice, the Horizon, there was another one too. And then I'm going on the Mardi Gras again twice and celebration. Prior to COVID, I don't remember. Or prior to losing my sight, I had 2 daughters that worked on the cruise lines. Mm-hmm. So at that time, I got to go on as family and crew.
In what capacity, Deb, were they working? What were they doing?
My youngest was the first purser. She worked at guest services. No one got on or off the ship without her signature. So I basically had the run of the ship. I could go every place except the wheelhouse. And I got to go to all the functions and all that sort of stuff. I remember the last one that I was on was the Radiance, which was the Victory at that time. Mm-hmm. I remember all the other ones. My oldest daughter worked in the stores. She worked for Shriners in the stores, and she worked more on Norwegian and those ships. She didn't work that much on Carnival, but Deanne worked on. The only place that Deanne did not cruise was Australia and England.
So you better make her get back on the cruise ship so she can come work down here. Then we get you down here. Then we can have some fun.
No, she met her husband on the ships, and they've been married for 21 years now. And neither one of them will even go on a cruise anymore. So, but
Deb, we want to thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight.
Probably enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
And I'm going to ask you to hang around a little bit afterwards so that we can continue a little bit of a chat. But I want to say to the group, bear in mind, we haven't shown the video yet, but bear in mind the next group cruise that's happening with Helping Hands in mind is the March cruise put on by Fintastic Cruising. All the details for that cruise are in the bottom of the in the description below. Please have a look, see whether or not you guys can actually get on that cruise. It's running from the 12th of March to the 19th out of Tampa, doing Belize, Grand Cayman, a couple of others. You'll have to check out with Kimbra or Matt, but please go ahead, have some fun, and if you know anybody who is a deserving recipient, please do a video about them and put that up to the board. Let's get some more people on board a group cruise. At least the opportunity to cruise and see what's happen, be able to have their life changed. We've just got Cindy from Sparker's Crazy Adventures just
g'day,
popped
Cindy.
in. So g'day, Cindy. We're about to shut down now.
Thank you, Rotan and Cozumel. Thank you, Meg.
Thank you, Meg, Rotan and Cozumel as well. So that'd be awesome. Please talk to Matt and Kimbra or even Meg, because she's going to be the board representative on board that ship.
That one will be
and the couple that are going on there is James and his wife, Cindy Catanese. Never had that fortunate opportunity to do a group cruise, to do a cruise
at all.
Rob, we cannot nominate Deb. Deb's been on more cruises than you've had sleep.
Thank you.
The rules are rather specific. The rules are rather specific. So the recipient must never have had the opportunity to have cruised before, and for one reason or another. So thank you very much for coming, folks.
Lovely to see you all. Thank you, Deb and Glenna.
Yes.
Much appreciated.
And we'll be back on deck at 8 p.m. Melbourne time on Wednesday evening, which will be 4 a.m. for you guys across the pond on Wednesday morning. And next week, Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern, which is 2 o'clock.
Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon. So take care, folks. Have a great day.
Week.
And we will catch up with you round the traps.
Bye all.
Bye.